Hi, Dr. M. How are you? Daphne here. Thank you for sending me your next essay and reminding me that you need to get your band 8. Okay, let's have a look at this. My first comment is really cut this. Okay, 412 words is very long. You run into various problems. Number one, running out of time. You run out of time, you lose a huge amount of marks. I know from sad experience of many students who write very long essays and then in the exam they run out of time. Uh, Also, there's a danger that you make more mistakes. It is better to stop at 350, 370 and get it perfect. Really, really strongly recommend paying attention to that. Okay. So university students nowadays seem to have too much freedom, do not study enough. To what extent do you agree and disagree? Explain your opinion. Okay, so psychologists and education experts throughout the developing and developed world, I would cut this, for example, I just put globally, have debated whether undergraduates have become less disciplined with their school responsibilities or the opposite's become the case. Personally, I'd agree they do not study enough. This essay we'll discuss. Okay. Uh, yes. Um, yeah, good. And I like that. I like how you're kind of explaining it here, not just saying good or bad. Um, Again, do you have to have such long people? If you're, in terms of cutting words, can we not have somebody a bit shorter? U.S. Health Department. Boom. Yeah. Capital letter there. There's ample evidence that education centres are facing a serious challenge embedded in the lack of discipline that could become, not would, could become a threat to the country's future in the long run. Okay. There have been a plethora of causes why students are neglecting their studies. A comma here, such as the absence of self-enhancement as well as psychological adjustment. What do you mean? So if you're going to make an amazing statement like that, immediately I'm going to say, what do you mean? But so you're going to explain this to me. The central reason behind this is twofold. Firstly, I kind of don't think you need this. I mean, I know this is the template, but I also think that now your writing is so good that I want more of your writing. And this slows me down. Psychological adjustment. Um, why don't you go? And it has been suggested that the scarcity of intrinsic motivation, which is a desire to learn a topic due to inheritance traction. Okay. So here I would put due to or frequently due to. Why do I do that? I go frequently due to the scarcity of. Scarcity of intrinsic motivation, which is a very interesting point. Which is desire to learn a topic due to inheritance traction. Okay, good. Secondly, it has been, I think I've taken out firstly, but anyway, okay. It's also been assumed that the lack of extrinsic enhancement could be an issue, which is an inclination put for perform and succeed for the sake of accomplishing a specific learning outcome. Okay. I mean, you're saying self-enhancement and psychological adjustment, which is amazing, but I still need to be absolutely sure what you mean here. And then you're talking about motivation. For example, recent research demonstrated that 80% of postgrads who had both the aforementioned mental enhancements had completed, so past perfect there, had completed their schools with high grades. I'm also going to cut this. Although it could be claimed that school entertainment plays a pivotal role in scholars' interest. It's psychologist. Okay, I don't want to criticize you because you are a doctor and you are a very, very clever man. But for me, I need to understand as an examiner, I need to understand what you're writing. And I kind of need you to use these words: motivation, determination. Oh, sorry. So you could say, obviously, motivation you talk about, but you could say personal determination and desire to be successful, to achieve a high, high level degree. I think it's very, very important that you're not talking about too much theoretical brain sort of knowledge stuff, and not, you need to answer the question: do they have too much freedom? Here, you're not really talking about whether they have too much freedom. You're talking about their motivation. Make sure you are answering the question. Yeah. Although this is the case for cognitive metal, you see, we're not really talking about this. We're talking about too much freedom. So are they going out having parties the whole time and not being in the library? Really be careful when you do your planning at the beginning. Make sure your planning connects to the question. If your planning and the question connect, then you're okay. The danger here is that, for me, you're not on the right topic, and you cannot get a band 8. You really can't if you're not answering the right essay. The negative impact of boredom and deficit of enjoyment. Okay, why? So why would they be bored? Because they don't understand the lecture? Why would they be bored? This is largely because perhaps a repetitive, monotonous cycle of learning or learning atmosphere could increase a learner's idea loss and distraction symptoms, which might reflect on their lack of interest. Distraction symptoms? I don't think distraction symptoms. Their lack of interest. Okay, so the lectures aren't interesting enough. Okay. For instance, found that 60% of students who were participating, I think, in social activities are more disciplined with their collegiate duties. Okay, so explain here about social activities so that it's too easy for students to opt out. They don't have to get involved. They are less likely to experience stress and boredom. Okay, so we're talking unis, not schools. But so you're really talking about them. Yeah, I mean, I get the point here. But I think you need to make this. You need to explain at the beginning of this sentence why they're bored, and then develop it. Okay. I firmly believe drama and sports. You see, now you mention drama and sports in the conclusion. Why aren't we mentioning this all the way up here? Invaluable contribution to improving undergraduate levels of relative enthusiasm. Yeah. I think, do you know what? I hate criticizing you because you're such a good writer, but this is too technical. I think you've kind of started off, got very into it, got very technical, and then thought, oh, hang on, I'm not answering the right question here. You just have another look at it for me. The too much freedom. Yeah, they have in the UK, many students have 10 hours lectures a week. That's it. Way too much freedom, and they don't study much. So address the problem. What is the problem? This is the problem. They have no contact time with their tutors. What do? Go out. And then they don't study. So you could link that to motivation, but explain the problem first. That would be my recommendation there. Okay. So in terms of giving you a grade, you would lose marks on task achievement. You would score very well though on your vocabulary, which is excellent. You score very well on your grammar, and you'd score well. Well, the cohesion, again, you've got issues on the cohesion because this is linked to the task achievement. Okay, but I know you can do it. Okay, so keep going. I really know you can do it. Here we go. The task one. Okay, the proportion of undergraduate inclination, lovely, towards both desires, career and interest in learning, approximately from 25. Graduate inclination towards both desires, career and interest in learning. There's inclination and motivation for learning. Yeah, either career or interest. I wouldn't put desires because you've got inclination. Inclination or incentive, maybe motivation again for learning. Either, and then career or interest. And from that age, okay? Studying for a career has the greatest attraction for most students. Rather than, you need the word rather in there, than learning, typo for interest, which is the highest among young by 70, whereas the interest is the lowest by 10%. Whereas in this group, for interest, and you could almost put it in like that, because it's quite confusing, isn't it? For interest is lowest. Simultaneously, learners for interest rate increased in the subsequent age groups while studying was okay. So learners for interest rate increased by 5. The subsequent age groups while studying to be employed decreased. So watch out on the tenses. You're jumping around tenses a little bit here. And I know we don't have an age, we don't have a time on this. So, but I still think, forgive me, we can't have this language increased. Sorry, I've misled you here. We actually can't have this. Okay, because increase and decreased suggests changes over time. This isn't changes over time. This is static. So learners for interest is literally is. Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry. So you literally have to have is. 5 to 10% of the school while studying for is or registers at. So you could use the word. You could use registers. Is recorded at, that sort of thing. Okay, that kind of vocab, or just is. But you cannot have increasing, decreasing, rising, all that sort of stuff, because you're not talking about changes over time. You need to make the comparisons though. So that's very, very important. Percentage of both is yes, okay. Ultimately, the quantity of middle-aged scholars for interest rise. But you see, you can't have rising and drops dramatically, because it just doesn't work with this one. Yeah, and you could say is you'd have to say it's 50%, but then compared to, you need to make the comparisons. So this compared to that. And you need to be doing 3 times higher than. So among the, you've got that nicely there, but then you could make the comparisons like learning for interest among the over 49s is 6 times higher than for the under 26s. Under 26s, their primary reason for study is for career, compared to only 20 for over 49s. So you're comparing between the groups based on the categories. Now, no summarizing. No, I mean, that's your personal opinion, so you don't have any of that in there. Leave that out. The rate for the majority of studying is high, especially the first 3. Okay. In contrast, so we use in contrast rather than on the other hand. So, is this your overall statement? So you could put, this could be like your intro, overall, or conclusion. Doesn't matter where you put it. Start with overall. So this is your summary. It can go there, or it can go at the beginning. Then you've got your 2 paragraphs of detail. But just watch out on that. So the difference between changes over time and static. Over time and static. And I'm going to give you a link, and you can look at lots of examples there. They are different language. Okay. Sorry if that wasn't very clear. I was in a bit of a muddle. I hope that's all right. Keep on going. Okay. You're so nearly there. Just watch out on the task achievement. Shorter next time, and really answer the question. Okay. Well done.